Dr. Chow, thank you for your enlightening talk. It sure gives hope that everyone has the opportunity to become parents despite their medical condition. It is supposed to be a question and answer session now, but since we ran out of time, if you have any questions, you may approach the speakers during lunchtime and ask them any questions that you may have. So next, I would like to invite everyone present to lunch, which is prepared outside. The second part of our seminar will resume at 12:50 p.m. with lucky draw. I wish you all bon appetit and see you all back here at 12:50 p.m. sharp. You may use the lunchtime to book consultations and visit the booths outside. Organizers, sponsors, and speakers, please stay back for a group photo before proceeding to the organizers' lunchroom.
Please come here. Thank you. Photoshop.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
If anyone has not dropped their numbers into the glass bowl, please do so now. It's behind there, behind the cameraman. You can just drop your numbers into that bowl before we begin. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to resume. I would appreciate it if all of you are seated. Welcome back, everyone. Now that we have had lunch, shall we have a lucky draw before I invite the next speaker on stage? I would like to invite Miss Katrina Felix from Gleneagles Penang's marketing team to the front, please. So the prizes are free pelvic ultrasound or free semen analysis and medical consultation. Are you ready with your tickets? Are you ready? I'll start to announce now. So number 060. Number 060. Anyone with that number? Okay. Second number is 080. 080. The third number is 039. 039. Okay. Fourth number is 122. 122. Anyone? Oh, okay, there's someone. The final number is 114. 114. Okay. The lucky participants who have won the prizes can actually claim the prize at the end of the event. All right? Thank you so much. Congratulations. And thank you, Miss Felix. Oh, okay. The prizes are here. Hold on. The prizes are here. All right. can you all come on stage and receive your prizes? Thank you, Miss Felix, and thank you, everyone. Those of you who have not won any prizes still have a chance in leaving with a prize today, as we have a second lucky draw session. Please stay with us until the very end to stand a chance at winning something. Next, we'll resume our series of talks with yet another interesting topic. Our next speaker is Miss Caroline O. Miss Caroline O is the principal of Caroline O & Co., a boutique law firm based in Penang. Miss Caroline O read law at the University of Kent at Canterbury, UK, attending her Bachelor of Law degree with honours in 1993, and thereafter went on to qualify as a barrister at law from Middle Temple, UK in 1994. Miss O was admitted as an advocate and solicitor of the High Court of Malaya in 1995 and has continuously practiced over 22 years in the legal profession. Miss O has had significant experience in adoption cases, advising childless couples or those who want to expand their family and give good homes to deserving children. She is a strong advocate of legal adoption, such as going through proper channels from the onset to ensure a lasting and happy union of parent and child to avoid issues in the long term. Please welcome Miss Caroline for a talk titled Adoption, Legal, Lasting, Love and Legacy.
Is this on? Can you all hear me? All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm always baffled as to whether it's better to play to the audience before lunch or after lunch, because I think before lunch you all are all hungry and so all rushing off, but after lunch I think you all look sleepy. So hopefully I'm going to keep this short and sweet. And this topic, adoption, personally for me, I think is actually a very sweet topic because it's a good thing, all right? Joanne, thank you for that mouthful on me. The topic is adoption, legal, lasting, love, and legacy. Basically, I feel like a fish out of water amongst all these medical miracle makers regarding abilities to make babies and have all the new ways of doing it. But as we know, miracles don't always happen. Clearly, the wish is to conceive naturally and to create and produce one's own child. And the experts who have spoken before actually has given a lot of new ways and better ways to go about it and the right path to follow. I'm here to speak about the possibility of adopting and to expound seemingly the basis of wanting a child stems from two interrelated facts. You want to be a parent and you want to create a fuller family. Sometimes the focus and the frustration have all been invested and divested in trying so hard that these intending parents forget that what the role is about. It is to note that the verb parent means to be or act as a mother or a father to someone, and in particular to raise, bring up, look after, and take care of that someone. Pertinent to note is that the act of actually giving birth is not included in the definition of parenting. So if one has the wherewithal to be a parent, in that defined sense of the word, then adoption is a possible avenue to consider. On my part as a practicing lawyer, I will be taking you through an adoption process via a court process. That means adoption pursuant to the Adoption Act 1952. It is important to state from the onset that contrary to misinformed beliefs, court adoption is neither difficult nor time-consuming if carried out correctly. So let's start by first considering the usual prerequisites for adoption. The applicants, or one of them, has attained the age of 25 years and is at least 21 years older than the intended child whom he, she, or they propose to adopt. Obviously, we do not want a child adopting a child, so you need to be of a certain age. The applicant must ordinarily be residents of West Malaysia, and the child must be likewise a resident. On point 2, adopting a child is having a child into your family, but adopting does not ensure citizenship or nationality. So that's another matter. Consent from the biological end that gives up the child is duly obtained, and that's obviously very, very vital. The child must have been in the continuous care and custody of the applicants for at least 3 consecutive months preceding the date of the adoption order. So that would mean that when you have a child that you want to adopt, literally after doing the requisite information to the social welfare departments, the child's actually housed in the home of the adoptive parents, and that has to be at least 3 consecutive months minimum. The applicants, the people who want to adopt, the parents who want to adopt, must have given at least 3 months' notice, written notice, to the social welfare department in the state where the applicants reside, and this will be done through a lawyer. Okay, we do this. How do we go about adopting? Procedures for adoption. We start by first collating the relevant documents from the... So actually the process goes where, if you want to adopt, I suppose the first thing, if you're looking at court adoptions, you do approach a lawyer that is known to know adoption processes. You meet them. By then, hopefully, the child has been identified. You start with collating relevant documents. So the documents are, from the biological end, you will need the details of the child. Very, very importantly, you will need the consent in writing. It will be in a form of declaration to be sworn before a commissioner for oath. And that will be by the biological parents or the biological mother. And you will need the birth certificate of the child. A very relevant point too, because obviously when you have children that are trying to be adopted and there's no birth cert, there's a whole kettle of fish again, right? From the adoptive parents' end, if you're married and it's a married couple that's adopting, then you need their marriage certificate. You need your proof of financial standing, because, yeah, to be honest, obviously, if you bring a new life into your family, you need to be able to afford it. Raising a child is expensive nowadays. And other details, like if you have your own child, and maybe you've been trying for your next child for many, many years, hence you're going to adopt now, you also have to declare that you actually have your own natural child before then. As mentioned before, very importantly, and later on when we get to the panel session, we will have good friends and representatives from the Social Welfare Department to speak with us. The Social Welfare Department plays an important role in this technical process of adoption. We will have to serve, the lawyers will have to serve a notice to the Social Welfare Department pursuant to that section of the Adoption Act of an intention of this couple who want to adopt. We will then, after which the letters are served, the lawyers concerned with the relevant collated details will then prepare and file the adoption cause papers in court. On that note, for the lawyers and the good people from the Bar Council, LAC are here, and some of them have done adoption. From the onset, I did say this is going to be short and sweet, and I stand by it. I think the adoption process is one of the nicest legal cases a lawyer can actually handle for the ones that have done it. Because you're actually putting a child into the care of people who have been usually waiting a long time for this child. It's almost goal. So what I notice is that the courts concerned, when you approach a matter, I find that the courts and the judges concerned, they have a very soft approach to adoption. So far it's been good experiences. At the first hearing date, when you go to court after you file your documents, the parties to attend, usually the cases which I handle, I would have the adoptive parents there, the child to be adopted, the baby, biological parents, and the social welfare department officer. Because at this first hearing date, the point of this first hearing date is to appoint the social welfare officer as the guardian ad litem to the child. So be very clear that at this first hearing date, the child has not been deemed officially adopted, by far not. It is also poignant to note because, I mean, literally we are, our experience is on an actual case basis. To go to court, again, like I said, I think adoption is so wonderful, but the truth of the matter, when the biological side gives up a child, there is for different reasons. I don't think any of us can be judgmental upon it. I say parents here, but most of the time, quite a lot of the times, it could be just a biological mother without a father and unmarried, obviously. But irrespective, we cannot take away from the fact that it's not easy for anyone to give up their child. So imagine appearing in court and having a mix of these people there. You have the adopted side and you have the biological side. Frankly, any lawyers who actually go into this world would also have to be not lawyers only, but also be very human, because you would have to actually ensure that all parties are at ease and this process goes well. There are tears sometimes. On the next return date, so basically after the first hearing date, if everything seems to be in order with the paperwork and everything, the social welfare department officer does turn up. The court will then appoint the social welfare department officer and give us a return date to court, usually in 3 months' time. And that's what I call the second hearing date, which is very important because this should, if everything goes well, this is the date in which the adoption order is granted. On the second hearing date, again, the adopted parents will normally have to be there. The child to be adopted, for most of the cases I handle, they actually bring the child along. And the social welfare department officer, as the guardian, will come in with his or her report at that point to report on how he has checked the living conditions of the adopted parents' home and things like that. So subject to a positive report by the SWD officer, the adoption order will be granted. So far, frankly, in my actual cases, it's gone smooth as silk. Once you get the order from the second hearing date, literally we'll extract the order from court. It becomes a sealed court order. That sealed court order is actually sent to the National Registration Department, NRD, and the Social Welfare Department for its records. Frankly, what happens is that our institution of the court actually liaises with NRD and SWD, and everything's sent from the court directly to them. But frankly, adopted parents are always so eager to have the child in their care, everything in order, get the My Kit, that sometimes lawyers, to go the extra mile, what we do is actually we will extract the court order. We don't wait for the court to send the sealed order to the NRD. We assist them because we find that we are faster, okay, because the court has a backlog of things. So we quickly send it to the NRD department so that they can start the process, all right? The NRD, the National Registration Department, subject to the completion of requisite forms, Form AAs and things like that, will reissue a new birth certificate for the adopted child with the details of the adoptive parents. The very significant plus, actually, of COP adoptions are as follows. You obtain a new birth certificate for the adopted child with the names of the adoptive parents thereon. And the word adopted can be and almost is always omitted. So frankly, what you do get is a fresh birth certificate, and unless the adopted parents in the future tell the child that they were adopted, or you tell the world that this child is adopted, from paperwork proof, you can never tell if this child is an adopted child or your own child. That's one important point. It also allows, in a sort of an inheritance law avenue, it also allows the adopted child to have similar legal standing as any biological child. So those are the two very, very important parts about a court process adoption. But I need to, of course, emphasize that court adoption pursuant to Adoption Act is meant for non-Muslims only, all right? Because under Muslim law, you actually want to adopt it. It's a separate thing. You have to go under Registration of Adoption Act. That's why I'm reluctant to touch on departmental adoption, as this is done by the JPN. But what I would like to do now is show you a small slide of a comparison of court adoption and adoption through the department, JPN. I am not sure whether I lost yourselves, but let me recap again. Lawyers will do court adoption. We will follow the Adoption Act 1952. If you do not want to seek lawyers and actually go to court per se, because court adoption actually is only applicable to non-Muslims, whereas departmental adoptions are applicable to Muslims as well as non-Muslims, all right? But let's see the comparison a little. This will be done under the Registration of Adoptions Act. As I mentioned, it's not applicable to non-Muslims under court. Departmental, it is applicable to both sides. Very importantly, the child has to be adopted has been in the care or in custody of the adoptive aunt at least 3 consecutive months, whereas under departmental adoption, it has to be with the adoptive aunt for 2 years. 2 years, huh? The legal effect of the adoption under court adoption. Once the adoption order is granted, an adopted child will be treated as if it was a child born in legal wedlock, all right? Whereas departmental adoption, this would be my language of it. I feel that the general idea of adoption, even at departmental adoption, is to anyway bring the child into the family. I think that's the bare basic fact. But when it comes to paperwork and all, it seems like an enlargement of custodial rights, because the paperwork, as you can see coming up, will not reflect that this child is similar to your own biological child. Because in a court adoption, what you get is that you get a new birth certificate issued in the adopted parent's name, and there will be no denotation of the word adopted. In departmental adoption, what you get is literally a certificate of adoption, not a new birth cert, and the adoption status is expressed and clear. So there is clarity, there's expressness that this will be an adopted child, all right? But again, personally, I don't think there's a stigma for if the child, I think you were just waiting for the child to appear in your life. So the word adopted, frankly, I don't think that should be an issue. That's a personal take. Again, to reiterate, adopted child has a similar right to inherit like a natural born child, but under departmental adoption, but more importantly, under Islamic inheritance law, Fara'id, adopted child has no right to inherit like any natural child. Now, as before, the fact is that adoption process in itself, in my experience, does not take very much time. I think a lot of people think that they veer away from adoption because it takes so long, there's just so much paperwork. Usually the cases that I've done, it actually took us only 4 to 5 months, and that's taking into account that the return date for the court is 3 months in between first and second hearing date. So it's been an efficient 4 to 5 months. If anything, the difficulty of adoption is finding that precious bundle, actually, the child, which requires serendipitous intervention, sort of like the stork bringing the baby. So for all those looking to adopt, besides looking out for the stork, I think passive wishing will not endow. You literally have to make an effort, elbow grease, to go and find the child. Later on, we'll be having a panel session. I will be plaguing our good representative from the Social Welfare Department as to how we are going to do this, because finding the baby, I think that's the elusive thing. Let me see, I've got another slide, oh dear. Yeah, well, I was saying adoption took time, but I just explained it actually doesn't take that much time. And the love will arrive instantly, yeah? I'd like to end by saying that it takes a united couple, a strong womb, and dedicated doctors to deliver a baby, but it takes an even stronger couple, will and patience, and the right legal guidance to welcome that new child into your family via a legal adoption process. So that was short and sweet. So let's go look out for the stork. All right, thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Ms. O, for your informative talk earlier. Moving on, I would like to introduce the last speaker, Dr. Tan Kong Yong, who is the Chief Technical Officer of Cryocort Sendirian Berhad. Dr. Tan Kong Yong obtained his Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery MBBS from St. George's Hospital, University of London. He also has a master's degree in biochemistry and molecular biology from King's College, University of London. Dr. Tan has 10 years of experience as an ophthalmologist in United Kingdom before being appointed as a senior lecturer and consultant ophthalmologist at Hospital University Kebangsaan, Malaysia. He is still a visiting consultant for HUKM. To date, he has over 70 international presentations and over 40 publications. Dr. Tan is a pioneer in his field. He and his research team became the first in the world to have discovered mesenchymal stem cells in human cornea in 2005 and was subsequently published in 2007. His team is also one of the first in the world to have succeeded in inducing mesenchymal stem cells into nerve cells as well as human retinal cells. He is currently attached to International Specialist Eye Center, Brighton Healthcare, as well as Chief Technical Advisor for several biotechnology companies in Malaysia. Dr. Tan's talk is titled The Wonders of Umbilical Cord. Dr. Tan, the floor is yours.
How do I change this? Oh, thank you for the invitation and the kind introduction. I just want to just give you a brief overview on what stem cells and what stem cells can do and more important, what's the mesenchymal stem cells. If I can get this to work. Yeah. Right, this is a worm. It's called the planaria. It is something that I used to catch in the river for research. And what's so interesting about this worm is that if you chop this into 8 or 10 pieces, each one of these pieces will regenerate into an entire worm. And that's how amazing it is. It's the characteristics that's found in many parts of the world. However, there are many subspecies. Certain planaria can turn into an entire worm, but others, planaria, don't. And that's what researchers are very interested in. What is the switch, the genetic switch in this worm that enables the little piece of part of the body can regenerate into an entire worm, and the others don't. And the difference is critical in our understanding, in our ability to regenerate. So we used to be able to regenerate. And in fact, certain parts of our body are able to grow and regenerate. That, for example, your nails, it keeps growing, right? So these are regenerations. Your hair, your skin, your liver. You chop off half a portion of liver, the other half are able to grow back. But there are also other parts of our bodies that doesn't regenerate, like the brain. You have a stroke, you can't, you're almost paralyzed for life. Or you had a heart attack, your heart muscles does not regenerate. So these are the little differences that we are interested in. What makes our body heal and what makes our body doesn't heal. And over the years, regeneration has become less important because we don't die because we can't regenerate. We die because we've gone too big in size, we've lost the blood. Losing blood kills us, and infections comes in, it kills us. And over the kind of many years, we've lost the ability to regenerate, and that's how that's how it unfortunately it is. So what are stem cells? Now, the ability to regenerate all lies down to stem cells. Stem cells are cells that are able to divide and produce another stem cells, or able to divide and produce a tissue-specific stem cells. So it could divide into to your bone, to your liver, to lungs, kidneys, and as well as to divide into another stem cells. There are many different types of stem cells from early stage to late stage. So it started, of course, it started off as embryos in a few cells in the body, and we all know the entire baby develops from the embryo. So these cells has the ability over the 9-month period to be able to regenerate into an entire human being. It's quite amazing. This is and of course, these are embryonic stem cells, which we call them pluripotent, which means they can differentiate into many different cell types. As we grow older, we become an adult, and then we also have a lot of stem cells, but they have limited potential once we're grown old. So we call it multipotent. It can divide into tissue-specific stem cell, but it's unable to turn into the entire human body. So if I take a stem cells from you lot and try to grow a baby from it is impossible. It can only grow into specific skin, liver, bones. Okay, so we lost that ability as we grow older. Now, in infants, this is what we are interested in cryocort. We have interest in hematopoietic stem cells and mesenchymal cells from jellies. The younger they are, the better it is. And so these are two main types of stem cells that we have a great interest in. One is called the hematopoietic stem cell, which has the capability to generate entire blood system. And we have this in our bone marrow. We have plenty of those when babies are born in the umbilical cord blood. The second one, which I think is more critical, which is what my main interest of research was for the past 16 years, is something called mesenchymal stem cells. These cells are has great potential. They're able to turn into very many different types of cells, like heart, the neurons, the nerve fibers, the liver, and they don't turn into blood. The blood comes from hematopoietics. The structural, our body structures, a lot of them come from a group of cells called the mesenchymal stem cells. Now, these MSC cells, I like to call them, and it can turn to fats, and we found them in corneas, in liver, all sorts of tissues in our body. Given the right environment will be the cell able to differentiate. Now, this field of MSC cells really exploded over the last decades. Now, you can look at publications in the medical journals. In 1998, when I first started looking into these cells, there were 271 publications. 2015, there were 6,700 publications on MSC cells. That compared to like peripheral blood stem cells, 1,028 in 2013, and umbilical cord tissue, there are 482 publications compared to like 5,000 over. So it's a huge explosion in interest in these fields. And if you look at the clinical trials, there's a website in US, they registered that 741 ongoing clinical trials using these cells. So where are they found? These cells can be found. In fact, these cells can be found everywhere in our body. It was initially found in bone marrow, where it was first discovered, but subsequently it's found in umbilical cord, Wharton's jelly, which is where our interest is, the amniotic fluid, placenta, and we found it in eyes, in dental pulp, in uterus lining. So in fact, they're everywhere. They are supporting the entire body to grow. This is our earlier publication was in 2007. We found these MSC cells in the eye. And these cells are scars. They're found everywhere, they are scars. They are estimated to be 1 in 100,000 cells in the bone marrow are MSC. So they're not common, they're not frequent. There are very few of them, but they are very, very important. And they can be extracted, they can be expanded in the lab, and they're not easily found in peripheral blood. So I take the blood from your body, it's almost impossible to isolate MSC cells from it. But if you take it from the bone marrow, you can isolate from it. You can also isolate from your teeth, from your fats. Okay, so the bad news is when you're born, your ratio of these cells is actually quite high. You look at the bone marrow in newborns, it's 1 in 10,000 contains MSC cells. But as we reach teenagers, it drops quite dramatically to 1 in 100,000. As we grow older, it kind of reduced to 1 in 400,000. And not only that, the rate of which the cells can grow also reduces as we grow older. So if I get the bone marrows from an 80-year-old patients and try to grow them in a lab, it takes longer time to grow than if I were to harvest it from a 20-year-old bone marrow donor. So in essence, the younger, the better. Now, they have unique properties, MSCs. They reduces rejections. They are there as an immunomodulatory, anti-inflammatory effect. So they like to home into the site of inflammation and damp down the inflammation. It secretes what we call paracrine, which are hormones that enables the cells surrounding to regenerate. It talks to cells. They can form a little channels between the cells, and they talk to each other. They can transfer batteries, or called mitochondria, are little batteries of the cell, to the sick or dying cells. It promotes growth of blood vessels, so it promotes angiogenesis, and it differentiates into a variety of cells and tissues. And mitochondria, I talk about the transfer of these little mitochondria, which are little batteries of life. So it has, MSCs are fairly homogeneous group, which means they are very, they have a shared characteristics in you get it from bone marrow or from umbilical cord tissue. They have a very similar characteristic. They're very homogeneous. It suppresses inflammations, and because of these characteristics, it doesn't get rejected acutely. And it goes to the site of injuries or inflammations and improve tissue, wound healing, repair, and have a very strong clinical safety profile. Now, where the potentials are, the MSC potentials are into treatments of diseases that we'll call diseases are unmet clinical need, diseases that we are, at this moment, we cannot provide a solution, a cure for it. And diseases such as heart attack, stroke, even diabetes, a lot of publications on diabetes, they have some limited effect. It's also been used for studies in spinal injuries, cartilage damage, and also they can be used to be genetically modified to turn into specific cells like insulin cells, producing cells. So if patients who are short of insulin, they can, these are not in clinical work yet, just to inform you. But a lot of people in the laboratories are trying to turn the MSC cells and genetically modify them and turn them into insulin-producing cells, and then reinfuse them, and they produce insulins. Also can be used as a targeted cancer treatment, and this is something also we are also actively working on, is to how to use the MSC cells and genetically modify them and turn them into anti-cancer fighting agents. Because of its immunosuppressive effect or immunomodulatory effect, it's widely used in the clinical trials for diseases such as lupus or autoimmune diseases, where your immune body system overrides, gone a bit haywire. MSC has the ability to modulate our body immune system. And a lot of trials on this condition known as graft versus host diseases, which I'll talk to you about later on. So where are these MSCs found in babies? Of course, you can't harvest the cells from a baby when they're born, so we can only harvest it from the things that we throw away, or you keep them for various reasons, which is the placenta and the cord. So we don't take the entire placenta, by the way. We just take the cord, one segment of the umbilical cord. After we take out the cord blood, there's this area called the Wharton's jelly, which are soft tissues surrounding the blood vessels, and that's where we harvest the mesenchymal stem cells. So when we take that to the lab, what we did was we chopped them into little pieces, we washed them, cleaned them, sterilized them, and this is after you chop them in little pieces, we digest them with an enzyme to get the cells out from the jelly. And then you put them in a culture plate, and you grow them and expand them, and then you freeze them down in storage. So there are people who store the tissues, at this level, and we store them at a much further downstream level, which is a cell. We digest them post-digestion, where we harvest the cells, and also we expand them and we store them purely in a cell form. So this is what they look like in a culture dish. It's a little spindle. This is single cells, so there are lots of cells in here. If you look at it under microscope. So people ask me, what's the difference between storing tissues and cells? So if you store the tissue, it's more of an upstream process, which I demonstrated in the chart early on. It's an incomplete process, because ultimately the end product is still the cells. It's not the tissue. You can't use the tissue. You can only use the cells. And it's a heterogeneous bunch. It's a bunch of rojak in there, so you don't have a very homogeneous cell line. It's cheaper because you don't have to passage and grow them. And when you thaw the cell, it takes a much longer time, because every time you take it out from the freezer, a portion of them don't survive. You need to revive the cell. And it's harder to revive cells from tissues than from the cells. And it may not work eventually. Whereas with is the cells, you store the cells there, it's a complete manufacturing process at the end. The cells are homogeneous. It's more expensive to do because of the culture media. There's a shorter time is required, and therefore it's cheaper to expand them in the future if the needs arise. And it's almost certainly it will work because this is a trial and tested method in terms of storage. Technology is not something new. It's been around for decades. So I think I'll just skip that. Yeah. Okay. So what identity risk? Well, in this paper that was done in Turkey, it shows that MSC cells do bear a very high proliferation rate derived from umbilical cord tissues, high proliferation, high cell renewal capacity, and they share a similar marker to embryonic stem cells. So that's the closest things one can get to embryonic stem cells. And they are relatively safe. This paper indicates that if you inject MSC cells in animal studies, they don't form tumors, whereas if you use if you inject MSC cells into the animal, they don't form tumors, which are cancers. Whereas if you use embryonic stem cells, there's a risk or the worry that people might think that this tissue may develop into something cancerous. I'll just skip all this technical. So this lady won the so-called Tobias Prize, which is a very prestigious award, second only to the Nobel Prize in studying the role of MSC cells in immunomodulations. So what we do in Krakow, we run the cGMP. The whole process has been done in cGMP laboratory. It's just no different from drug manufacturing. If you produce a drug for infusion, it has to be done in a cGMP laboratory. That is a legal requirement. So we have to build a cGMP to process the cells, and this is what it looks like in the lab. And we do collect the annual storage fee over upfront. Some companies do kind of rake in as revenue, whereas the money that we collected to store for the next 20 years, we don't spend them. So we don't donate to 1MDB. Right? We put them in the fund, a trust fund, and we work with Rockwheels, and that's where the money stays. That's where every year the money will contribute to the maintenance of the cells. So that's what stands out Krakow amongst all the other companies. And MSC treatments is not new. People have been doing that for many years, and it's widely used in many countries. And up to date, we've released over 1,000 samples. So it's not something you just store and you think that, oh, maybe I don't need them in the future. So those are some of the awards and our celebrities. And this year we just celebrate our 50th anniversary. So we've been around for the last 15 years, and hopefully we'll be here for many years to come. Thank you very much.
We shall now begin our second lucky draw session. I would like to invite Ms. Yap Meng Chi from Penang Fada to the front. Number 119. Do we have anyone? Oh, we have someone. Ms. Yap, would you like to draw the second number? Second number is 115. Number 115. The third number is 008. number 008. Yeah, one more. And this is our last and final prize. Oh, sorry, two more. Right, this is the second last one. Number 063. 063. Anyone? Yeah. It's our last prize. The last prize goes to number 072. 072. I should mention that all these prizes are actually sponsored by Gleneagles Medical Center. Thank you, Ms. Yap. We have now arrived at the panel discussion session. Ms. Caroline Oh will be the moderator for this session. Ms. Oh, can I have you on stage? So I shall pass the microphone to her. Ms. Oh and panelists, the session is all yours.
Okay, to be less lonely, I think I better invite my panel speakers up here first. Can I have Dr. Gan Kamling, please? Thank you. Ms. Shireen, will you join us? And we have a good friend and representative from the Social Welfare Department, as I mentioned. It'll be, I call him Jerry. Mr. Jerry, please join us, wherever that's comfortable, right? I think before we begin a bit of a chit-chat, and since we don't have a Q&A prior to the lunch break, personally, as an invitee for this event and a speaker for it, I think I would like to first make a comment that great efforts have been put into this little seminar today called the Infertility Seminar. I think it's very, very good of FHGA and with collaboration from GMC. And of course, a lot of kudos to the organizing chairman, Dr. Gan, right here. Round of applause, please. Yeah, because typically for all seminars, I don't think people notice the work behind it, and there was like weeks of work to get this matter together, this event together. And really, I think it's a great job. And everything relevant. The fact that I'm up here, obviously knowing nothing about medicine, obviously this is going to be about adoption. I think also very relevant is that I think the organizing committee and the chairman and all, when we were putting this seminar together, we're not looking at the medical side. It was a whole concept of infertility, how you bring a child into your life. So they were kind enough to reach out to look at all other alternatives. So adoption as in just a legal process was brought in. We have Dr. Tan just now giving us the idea of, those innards and all the other good things you can do by harvesting stem cells. You kind of like took our thunder as well. We're having little worms and Bart Simpson in your slides. I mean, all of us have more boring slides, okay? But back to this again. I'll need my glasses, okay? Can stem cell fix this? Cornea, yeah, that's right. Okay, this is a mix of us, and I'm pleased to say that we represent legal here, medical, we have psychological input, and again, our good friend from the Social Welfare Department. Given that it's a medical seminar, I would like to start with Dr. Gan. A question, all right? Dr. Gan, given your speciality is in the realm of medical fertility science, and your hopeful mission, of course, would be to assist couples in conceiving naturally, what are your thoughts on adoption, as I was mentioning?
Okay, all right. Is it loud enough? Okay. Having a family, is a long-term process. It's not just giving birth. It means a baby, whether it's yours or other people's. It's a baby, and that makes a family. And I think adoption is definitely one of the options one can use to have this family. And believe you me, I have seen it happen, and I'm so happy they adopted for some reason or other.
That's super. I think that's so kind to say that. I think that's also important because it will show that a person of your field, you're a medical doctor, but it's important for us to note that we don't close our doors. I guess when we're trying to achieve something, we keep all our options open, as long as the mission of it is to hit the goal we want in the best of ways. On that note, now a question to Jerry from the Social Welfare Department. Now, as I mentioned in my little talk just now, the Social Welfare Department plays a vital role in the adoption process. It really does. Now, could you assist us in throwing some light on the following? Now, are adoption processes rampantly happening? And I mean, let's focus on Penang alone. And on that note, like, if you could give us a little bit of stats on how many successful cases does your department alone handle?
Okay, I think everybody can hear me. All right, first and foremost, basically the Social Welfare Department, we go according to the Adoption Act 1952. And if you were to ask me, roughly, based on statistics from 2016, in Timor Laut, which is the main part of Penang actually, all right, we have about average to 2 to 3 cases which are successful every month, because statistics in 2016 shows that we have succeeded in 27 adoption cases per year. So that works out to average about 2 or 3 per month. Okay.
That's really quite good statistics, actually. So obviously, one of the roles, and again, is expounding on what I was actually mentioning just now, one of the roles of the Social Welfare Department, or rather its officer, is to visit the adoptive parents when they want to adopt a child, right? And it's, I'm given to understand it's actually to determine the home environment. But obviously, given that I don't do your role, I'm not actually sure. I'm actually inquisitive to know when you all go to the homes of these adoptive parents, and I assume the child obviously will be in their care. What do you look out for? And how particular might you be? Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Carolyn, actually, you finished half my job and half my answers just now
No.
with your short introduction. Okay, basically, I'd just like to make a statement. Actually, the Social Welfare Department are very friendly. We are actually ever willing to help anyone who's coming up to adopt these babies or these children. Okay, but we have a social responsibility because, like Ms. Carolyn mentioned earlier, adopting somebody or someone new in your life is not something easy, all right? It affects many things in your life. Basically, as a husband and wife, you have somebody new in your family, all right? It's going to, trust me, it's going to have a lot of impact on your financial side, on your family side, on your personal side, and also on your social side. Yeah. So basically what the Social Welfare Department officer goes and sees is, he's not there to stop you from adopting. Please don't get the wrong concept of it, all right? We are basically there to make sure that whatever, number one, whatever affidavits or whatever statement which you have given through your lawyers, which your lawyer has sent it to us as an affidavit, tallies. Is it true? And then we would like to know in detail about how is the future of the child going to be in a family. So that's what we access, why we go through financial records, the social surrounding around the child's future place, okay? And then how are the parents, all right? We don't want somebody to, adopt a baby for the sake of adoption, all right? Because I have to relate this to the Child's Act, okay? It's actually under Section 35, Child's Act 2001, okay, where the 4-element place, all right? Whether is the child going to have the future? What is the child's future? How is the child going to blend in with the family and the society? What is his current expectation? And can you go ahead with that child with your current status? And what are your future plans? Okay, so when a social department officer comes to your office or comes to your home to investigate, please don't chase him off. We're not there to, create trouble for you. We're actually there to help you.
Very good. Thank you for the answer, Jerry. You know, I have to echo that, and I actually have to expound again on the adoption process. Is of all legal cases that lawyers do, adoption is a very friendly whole process. Like I said, I see the judges being friendlier to us on the adoption. There's a real heartfelt feeling about it. Social welfare department officers, for most of the cases I've done, frankly, I've come across very good people. Different officers, well, could be a Chinese, could be an Indian, could be a Malay person. All of them been very kind. So yes, they are very friendly, good people. But at the point that he has made, which is clear as well, irrespective of whether you are getting your child naturally or adopting, a child is a major investment on so many levels, right? So many levels, and it goes on. And if you love the child, you're going to harvest their stem cells, and then that's expensive. Okay, all right. So on that note, and I'm going back to Shireen. Hi, Shireen. As a psychologist, I know that you're a child psychologist, right? So what are your views on adoption and the impact on a child, but especially, of course, one of a cognitive age?
Okay. Now, I would just like to highlight here initially is that I always advise parents when they come to see me, and I've also seen a lot of cases where parents have not actually disclosed to their child that they have been adopted. And I always question the parents, and I ask, why haven't you told your child that he or she is adopted? Now, I feel that it affects a child's development and the whole issue of trust if it is not being disclosed from a very early age onwards. I always encourage parents, as a child as young as about 5 years old or so, who already has got a certain level of cognitive ability to reason and to comprehend, I think it should be already been told, slowly been disclosed to the child that they have been adopted, they have been chosen to be in this family, purely because of the whole issue of trust. In this current day and age that we live in, it is not difficult to find out if you are biologically someone's child. All you have to do is just do a simple, genetics test, and you will find out that you are not. And say that you are already, in your teenage life, and then you discover that, suddenly you discover, or somebody has told you that you are not biologically this person's child. It would really affect the whole trust issue, because you feel betrayed as a child. Why wasn't I told? And if, as a parent, you have decided to adopt, purely means that, adoption is not bad. If you have kept it away from the child, it means that you are trying to hide something from the child. And adoption is nothing bad. There's no reason for you to hide this whole issue if you have already taken a step to go and adopt. So I personally feel, for the child, for the benefit of the child, it is important for parents to disclose it, and it just helps with development in all aspects, emotionally, physically, and cognitively, of course.
Shireen, thank you so much for that, because you know what? I think what you just said actually echoes what I just mentioned, that personally, I too feel the fact of adopting and the word adoption is not a stigma. Yes. And I think this is very poignant to note on this one, that whilst what I did mention that court adoption allows you to get that word adopted off your birth certificate, but if you went for departmental adoption, itu adoption via the Jabatan Pendaftaran Negara, there's a departmental adoption which our Muslim friends here can actually do, because that's the only procedure you can do. The word adopted is there. But you know what? Like I said again, so what? It doesn't really matter. So let that not, either way, let that not be, because honestly, court adoptions are more expensive than departmental adoptions. So later on, with departmental adoptions through the Jabatan Pendaftaran, maybe if you have a word with Mr. Jerry here, he could actually enlighten you more. All right? Now, maybe expounding on maybe more of my first questions to you, Dr. Gan, but actually this is, what is your opinion? Because, I think you take your patients who through a journey of trying to conceive their own child. And sometimes, it is a long journey. It's a long journey. And I think there are also patients that come to you eventually seeking your skills as as a fertility expert or as a gynecologist, and in the rare cases, and I think we've experienced once together, they would carry a child to full term, but they might not even retain the child. So, okay. How do you find, how would you think that these couples who've been trying so hard for their own natural child, do you think that when they consider adoption, can they actually sort of like accept adoption in a positive light? Or would it be, do you think, to them, a second option, second best?
Okay. Thank you, Caroline. Just a bit of digression here. I also work as a member of a Women's Welfare Council where unmarried mothers stay there. So the Welfare Department is keeping an eye on us. It is an NGO, and we also give babies up for adoption. So I'm in the thick of it.
Oh, great.
Now, as for people who are infertile and yet want to adopt, in my experience, some people, as soon as you mention adoption, it's a no-no. It's just like that. They don't even think about it. They say it's no. And it's no. But there are couples who, okay, I've helped them through and I said, oh, no, this has failed and that has failed and this and that. Perhaps you want to consider adoption. And yes, they do. And they do it willingly and legally, and they go through the welfare department, they go to our homes, and we do refer them for adoption, and they do accept babies, and we have done so many.
Excellent. Okay. I think that's the whole tone of the fact is to have an open mind, because what is the goal of it is to have a child in your life, right? I mean, irrespective of the manner, but of course keeping it all legal. And again, part of what I was chatting and the most elusive thing is, and it's a question to Jerry again, the hardest thing in adoption, I think, is finding the child, finding the baby. And then, of course, later on, and then finding, I suppose, the right, again, it's for parties to adjudge. When I use the word adjudge very lightly because social welfare department will, of course, do the necessary investigation. And we need the blessing of the court and the judge to allow the adoption order before this is legal. Now, how would you advise those that are here today, and in general, how would we go about finding the elusive baby?
Okay, can I consider that as a jackpot question?
That's right. It is a jackpot, right. But yeah.
Okay. Basically, look, the welfare department, we have a website. Okay, it's called www.jkm.gov.my. All right. Any public can access it. All right. All you have to do is go in, register yourself as someone under Anak Pelihara. All right, just go click on the buttons and Anak Pelihara will come up. So all you have to do is just go and register. Of course, some may ask me again, I've registered since 2014, 2010, 2012. I still haven't got an answer. All right? Babies are not something to be sold. All right? Please don't misunderstand that. Babies are not something to be sold. So every application goes through the proper processes, right? Proper investigation, and you will get a reply. Okay. Besides that, of course, like what my fellow panel speaker has spoken, WCC, they also do adoption. All right. All you have to do is go through the proper procedures. We are ever willing to help you, provided everything is legal. Right? We are not the police, so don't worry.
Yeah, I know that. Thank you so much, Jerry. Now, so let me surmise. There's a website under Social Welfare Department, JKM, and basically you can go there, you can register your interest. Besides JKM, what I know and I read up, there's a lot of good NGOs out there, like Dr. Gan just mentioned, WCC and things like that. And the whole idea of it here is actually all these NGOs and good parties, they may have access and they know people that, or biological parents or biological mothers who, for some whatever reason, cannot retain the child. So they are actually facilitators of patching things up. But irrespective, you will still need to go through the legal process, and this legal process, be it court adoption or departmental adoption, it will still be investigated by the Social Welfare Department. So there is a very strict, stringent scenario. And I think maybe if I wasn't clear, let me be very clear about it. Adoption is a happy, clean process. There is no such thing as a sale. It's not a sale and purchase transaction. But let's be very real in the world. Things happen. I suppose there are some monetary things that happen out there. But as far as if you're working from a standpoint of a professional basis when it comes to adoption, for us, it's not about money. The biological end and the adoptive end do not exchange money. That is not how it works. But frankly, processing-wise, adoptive parents do take care of the biological mother's medical fees, and that I think is allowable, and I think that's quite kind and everything, and possibly the money to take care of her for her health a little bit after. But it's a very pure scenario. Anything that happens behind all this stuff is not condoned, okay? It's not something we talk about, and it's not condoned anyway, all right, to be very clear. Now, a last question to Shireen, then we'll open the questions to the floor, and we have special guests as well. Shireen, now let this be a light one, because because honestly, through my own experience, we've had cases of interracial adoptions, and to be very clear about it, Muslim children can only be adopted by Muslim parents. So, of course, we're not talking about Muslim children here. We're looking at Chinese parents taking Indian children and vice versa, Indian parents. I've even had a German couple who took an Indian child, and they were so happy. You know, they were here 2 years in Malaysia, so that makes them resident enough to actually apply for adopting an Indian child, a Malaysian child. But today they're back in Germany already. Now, besides all the other psychological impacts, what is your opinion? Is there any further psychological impact when there is an interracial blend in an adoptive sense of the family?
Okay. Personally, I also have had some parent. They are Caucasian, living here in Malaysia, and have adopted an Ethiopian siblings. Yeah, and I'm actually, you know, they are my clients. The child are my clients, because initially he was going through a very difficult time trying to adjust to the culture and to understand why he has been adopted by these parents, by this set of parents. From the boy's point of view, he feels that he shouldn't be in this family because they are not of the same color. You know, and he was being picked on a lot in school because they see the parents different, and, you know, he's different. But nevertheless, the mother and the father has been very supportive, in a sense that they have tried to get this child to blend into their culture, but yet has also still tried to expose the child a little bit to his own original culture as well. So normally we see a lot of issues of bullying in school when they are of interracially adopted, a transracial adoption. There is some concerns as they grow into adolescence, into the whole self-identity aspect, because this is where, I mean, naturally adolescents have a lot of issues with self-identity, and if it's a child, you know, with a bit of confusion, it creates a lot of turmoil in the family. But besides that, I think it boils down back again to the parents and how they relate this whole thing to the child, and to acknowledge the fact that, yes, the child is from a different race, but now that you have been chosen to be in our family, you know, this is our culture. But, you know, if you want to go and visit, you know, go for, you know, spend Chinese New Year, fair enough, you know, if that's what you feel like you want to do. So it's also encouraged to allow the child to experience a little bit of their own culture if they feel like they want to as well. Yeah. Okay.
You know, Shireen, what you just mentioned, to me, I think this whole process of adoption, and clearly, I think anything worth, love transcends all colors, isn't it? All colors and all boundaries. If you really want to do it, and that's your mission and that's your focus, I think you get by it, right? That's one thing. And what I noticed from the whole spew of talks this morning, starting from Dr. Gan in the morning, Dr. John Uy, Dr. Chow, and back to us, just on speaking and everything, is clearly the effort of having a child is something you really want, is effortful in any aspects. Is it done naturally? If you're going through an adoption process, it's all effortful. But it's anything that's worth having deserves, is worth using effort for. I think that's the basic. Do you think we have time to take some Q&As before we invite our special guests up? Have we been going on too fast? And is there anything you want to ask? I mean, today's the best day. I think you have so many professionals here today. I saw Dr. Chow. She came in and she left again. Ada soalan? Wow. Okay. You want to come to the mic, please?
For the social worker, the psychologist, and maybe the lawyer also.
Wow. My goodness. 3 in 1. Okay. Do you want to start with...
all 3 can answer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because it's different point of views.
All right.
Okay. I'm sorry if my question is quite controversial and might offend some people. Can a same-sex couple adopt in Malaysia? Same-sex as in not transgender, same-sex as in Abu and Ahmad. Or Salma and Farhana. Can they adopt in Malaysia? And okay. what are your opinions on this issue? Okay,
wow. Okay, fine, very good.
Because, that I know, I'm not sure if maybe I terlepas pandang or something. The preference of the parents was not stated in the ACTA, in the Act. Or was I mistaken?
Sorry, you lost me in the last sentence.
The parents of the adopting child, is it a preference or not in the Act? Does the parent have to be male, female, or no?
Okay. This is a question perfect for Mr. Jerry of SWG. I was going to come to you, right? All right. You can give the absolute technical answer. But 100 points for even just stepping up to ask that. Very good.
Okay. Thank you very much. Very interesting and difficult question to answer. Okay. But as I would like to quote back to what my first statement was, if everything is legal, we go according to the legal rights, we go according to the facts. And if it is allowed by the Constitution and by the acts in the country which you are residing, I don't see any problems with it. But then again, I'm not the lawmaker, right? On a social aspect, I will go through, if I were to handle your case, all right? I will go through every aspects which I mentioned earlier on, all right? I have to look at your capability, your ability, all right? The social effect that is going to be placed not only on your family, sir, but also on the kid which you intend to adopt, all right? And many other factors before I give whether I give a positive or a negative supporting statement in court later. Thank you.
Jerry, what a clear, concise and diplomatic answer that is. And that may or may not give you an absolute yes or no of that, but frankly, everything that Jerry said is absolutely correct. First of all, we live in Malaysia. So we live by the laws and statutes of Malaysia. Okay, I am not also going to give you a specific section or something, but I can tell you surrogacy is not actually legal in Malaysia as yet. One day it might change, I'm not sure. But I mean, I'll just give you an example, right? There are a lot of things there's a lot of things where what we feel socially should be allowed and what is allowed in law is different. But I like to think that, again, every authority that's actually going to be processing an application, irrespective of the gender of the applicants, I think I would like to say, I would like to trust that all the authorities will give similar fair time to all applications. What a controversial question that was, naughty boy. All right, is there any input on that one, Cherie? No, everyone's going to, but well done. I mean, okay, tough one. Any other nicer questions? Oh, come. Okay, easier ones, please. Yeah. Initiate dulu, huh? Okay. Name and where you're from, please, and to whom you would like to.
Good afternoon. I'm Elise Pua. I'm from Penang. I'm married to my husband. We'll be celebrating 10 years anniversary in 2 days' time.
Wow, congrats! A decade, all right.
And we have been trying to have baby, and we are still trying, but we are open to the options for adoption. Okay, just now through your sharing, I think I saw a clause that the procedure is for West Malaysian citizens, residents, to adopt West Malaysia children. So you didn't mention much about adoption of East Malaysia children. I'm not sure whether that is legal or not, or there is options. And also the procedure if you want to, as Malaysian, want to adopt foreigner children.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay. Elise, right?
Yeah.
Elise, thank you very much for that question. I assume that's for me, right? Okay. Okay. Quick one on that one. You can have a seat. Yeah. Yes, I did not actually touch on East Malaysian children or foreign children because I wanted to simplify the matter. If orang Malaysia adopt anak Malaysia, simple. All right, we are Malaysians. The certificate, the birth certificate of the child is a Malaysian birth certificate as issued at JPN. Oh, we love it, lawyers. We go to court, everything's going to be smooth as silk. It doesn't mean that you cannot have and take a child from another country, okay? But first of all, very importantly, a child must always have a birth certificate, irrespective whether it's from another country, it must have a birth cert. So we have problems. So, sorry, to be more clear, East Malaysia and West Malaysia, yes, you're right, it is different. Peninsular Malaysia and Sabah Sarawak, we are working on different laws. So it's not the same thing. But actually, Jerry, correct me if I'm wrong. The JPN in Sabah Sarawak, are we linked to JPN Peninsula?
Okay, basically it's one system, all right? Shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, all right. But basically, like I did mention something to you just now was that adopting, if you can have everything in the correct procedure, you can adopt. But if the child was, say, a foreign child, adopting does not ensure citizenship of Malaysia just because you and your husband are Malaysians, that your adopted child will automatically be a Malaysian. So the other part about ensuring citizenship, that will be under immigration law. And so after adopting, under adoption law, you actually have to go and look at immigration law. So honestly, I must say adopting a foreign child is so many more tiers of work. But it has happened, and it's, but we have cases where we have children that are already legally adopted, but they are not Malaysians. Okay, so when they go to school and everything, they are actually non-Malaysians, and there's a whole process of things. I think Dr. Gan, do you have some input on that? No, okay. Does that answer your question? Frankly, put it this way: when you find a bundle of joy, irrespective of where the bundle of joy comes from, but it's just a baby, right? You want to reach out for it. But obviously, I'm trying to tell you that it will be much more simple if us as Malaysians, you find a bundle of joy that's also Malaysian. But other ones, it will be a journey, but it can be done. It has been done before. All right? Any input, Jerry?
Okay, I totally agree with what Ms. Callan has just said. But on the social aspect of it, I'm not discouraging you. I'm not saying no or anything. After all, it's still a baby, right? But the willingness of the parents, okay, because it affects financially. So, are you financially willing? I'm not asking or I'm not questioning your status financially, but my concern is: are you willing financially to absorb the additional costs? That is the first question I'd like to throw to you back. If you are willing,
yeah,
no problem.
I hope you understand that what Mr. Jerry was trying to say was that because of the many more tiers, so basically you're not just looking at adoption law, you're also next looking at Immigration Act. And of course, as a parent, if you successfully have adopted, next thing you want to do is ensure that they successfully get their passports and ICs all in the Malaysian, reflecting your family. And that in itself is a process. But like I said, if you have been trying for an avenue to have a child, I think when anyone has an opportunity, but of course, to be very realistic about it, there is a higher cost, a longer journey. All right? But don't be discouraged, yeah? Yes, Cik, itu sudah lari. Oh, sini saja. Nama dan dari mana dan soalan. Thank you. Saya harap, ya.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good.
I'm Nur Irma. I'm from Perlis.
Wow,
I would like to ask you about adoption mother and parents, but the kids when know about their biological mother refused to stay with the adoption. How the act and how the law come forward to this.
Okay. First of all, I think I'm going to get Shireen to be a bit proactive. Okay. Very good. Thank you. A question all the way from Perlis. We must answer this. Huh? Okay. I think, can we get more of the social, clinical side of it, psychological? Our dear Che here just mentioned that the child doesn't want, after finding out, they don't want to stay with the adoptive side. Am I right? What do you think that what happens actually, Shireen, you think?
Now, a few things we'll probably look into is how old is the child, and at what age was the child adopted, okay? And then I will again have probably a few sessions with the parents actually, as opposed to the child, because I think there must have been some mistrust issues that has probably happened early on for the child not wanting to remain in this family. In most cases that I've known of children that have been adopted, they have been, and if it's gone through a very nice process, they don't want to leave that family. And they want to remain with the adopted family, no matter even if they have found their biological mother. So sometimes, I've actually seen parents who maybe have adopted and then they want to just be guided and to how to go through the whole process to help the child develop well emotionally. And if it's been done in a very well-mannered, trusting way, the child should be fine. So here I would probably have you, I may want to see a little bit on the background as to why this child suddenly now doesn't want to remain in this family.
Tentu, we have to look into tentu there must be some masalah there that that's much deeper because your question is loaded there, right? But again, when we look, your next question, actually part of it would be, so now that the child, obviously of a cognitive age, kemungkinan umur apa, 7, 8? 12, wow, okay, so wow, that difficult age of 12, right? All very smart already, right? Okay, so he has been legally adopted. So let's be very clear, it sounds obviously it's a departmental adoption. No names mentioned, I had a good friend, she's a Malay lady and she's married to a British guy, but of course he's embraced Muslim, both of them are, and they got a little child. So they've gone through the departmental process. And she goes, look, my child, he had to be with me for 2 years. And in that 2 tahun, because I had to be in custody and care before I came in, I lived in trepidation. Kalau anak ini nak leave saya. You know what I mean? Because, in court adoption process, you need to actually take care custody only 3 months. Then thereafter, you go to court, second hearing, you get the adoption order. That's legal. But for departmental adoption, jabatan pendaftaran, the child will be with you, living in your home for 2 tahun. Tapi belum legalized. So this friend of mine told me, wow, I lived in trepidation in 2 tahun. Kalau anak ini tak mau kami kah? They might not want us and might want to choose to go back to their biological side. And my friend, and because it's departmental adoption, the concept of adoption will always be there. When they took the baby from the biological mom, she purposely took a photograph with the biological mom so that when this baby is old enough, they nak tunjuk gambar. They want to show the picture to the child to say, this was your biological mother, to be clear. So now back to Jerry to answer this good points question. If the child, Mr. Wise, 12 tahun, decides, I want to go back, what are we going to do about it? What's happening now?
Okay, basically, I assume, like what Ms. Carolyn has said, this is a departmental adoption, right? Okay, that is why, according to Muslim laws, when you adopt a baby, all right, the mother still has the right to claim her baby back, right?
Oh, okay. You hear that? Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I don't want to go into details about the procedures and everything because, like what Ms. Shireen has said, all right, based on my personal my personal experience also, all right, I have colleagues who have adopted kids. Well, I myself have adopted a kid before. Okay, so there must be something wrong psychologically that triggers for that son or for that kid to say no. So my first suggestion, I would say suggestion, not instruction, yeah? Okay, first suggestion is, I think it's time for a family counseling for the baby, all right? In the welfare department also, we have counseling services. We have registered and professional counselors with us. So my suggestion to you is bring the child together with the family for a counseling session first, and then we will proceed or see what can be done further on. All right? Yes. Okay, that is another jackpot question, I assume. Okay. Like I said, based on my experience, my personal experience, 95%, all right, of the kids would not want to go back to their biological parents, provided everything has been taken care of with love and everything has been smooth flowing, all right? I'm not saying 100% because I assume there are some cases there, but on a human basis, I would say when you show a child affection, you show him love from young, all right, the chances are very low.
Well, clearly, I mean, honestly, I need adoptive end who's waiting for that bundle of joy and has waited for so long, probably has gone through such a big process to do it. In a utopian scenario, I mean, I can't imagine that child will be gold and will probably be treated so, right? So again, we have to look at the kemungkinan ada masalah, yeah? So we have to look into it. But be very clear about this. I think there was a point that Jerry mentioned a couple of sentences back. A child is not a chattel. If you want to adopt the innate sense of wanting and the why, and probably maybe those couples who have actually gone to see professionals who are here today, themselves like Dr. Gunn and all, who have really tried themselves so hard. So you have to be pure in your wanting, not just because, you know, one day I buy a sofa, the next day I buy a child, right? Okay. So is there any more questions? Because we have, yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Good afternoon.
Cameras, okay, no, right.
BDPA.
Don't worry, don't worry. No camera, please.
Good afternoon. I'm Kwa from Penang. My concern is after adopting the child from court order, it seems that the birth cert, there is no name. Is there any traceability that this child can go back and trace from the records? Where are the records kept? In court? Welfare? Where?
Okay, first of all, okay.
I have 3 questions.
Oh, 3 questions, wow. Okay.
Second question is, what to Ms. Shireen, when is the right time to reveal? The fear is there. The fear of rejection is there. And the third one is, if a man loves a lady from Indonesia, a divorcee with a child, this is not adoption. So if he marries this lady, how is the child being accepted by our immigration and our JPN?
Madam what? Sorry, I didn't get your surname.
Sorry?
Your madam?
Kwa.
Kwa. Wow,
you.
3 very loaded questions. Please have a seat because it's going to take a while. I think for the first question, I'm going to bother Jerry again, okay? Because the next one's going to be for Shireen. Did you hear the first question? Were you clear about it? All right, Jerry, go have a stab at that. Yeah.
Okay, like I mentioned earlier on, madam, all right, adoption, there's 2. One is Muslim, one is non-Muslim. So I assume you're talking about non-Muslim, all right? Okay. You see, the reason why the social welfare department is very strict, or why we go and visit the house and everything before we come up with a supporting statement, or before we agree for you to adopt the child, is because things like this. You have to understand, once you adopt the child, all right, a new birth certificate is out, all right, and the child does not know anything unless, like what Ms. Shireen has spoken, you be very frank with the child and you explain it to them. Okay, regarding the records, okay, once a new birth certificate is out, all right, the previous records have been erased. Okay, so, but then again, please do not forget about technology. All right, we are ever improving, right? When I was young, I didn't know anything about DNA, all right? Now, practically, we can trace our genes and our heritage right up to, you know. So I think that answers the first part of the question.
So, I think, Madam Kwa, I hope you're clear about that. So basically, when you do a legal court adoption, at least in order, the birth certificate that's issued by the JPN literally substitutes, takes over. That is the only birth certificate. We don't have many. However, like all authorities and like lawyers, we have paperwork, yeah? There's always record. So if you're talking about ability to find things, I think I have to echo Jerry. In this day and age, with technology and a bit of like CSI work, everything can be found. So the next question to Shireen, is that what you want to expound? Yes.
Maybe coded. The serial number is AA-.
Yes, yes. Oh, definitely. Because you have to fill up a form AA04 to JPN. So, yes, definitely. Madam Kwa, in short, as long as you touch authorities, relevant authorities, everything is recorded. Anything goes, and when we do a legal court adoption, our legal paperwork is also public knowledge. Actually, we filed it in court. So, again, echoing what Shireen was saying just now, is that I think honesty and an open policy is almost the best, and that would be the second question that Madam Kwa asked. When is it the right time to reveal?
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a bit difficult, but I assume, you know, you are adopting from a baby, okay? So it's a newborn baby, you know, you're caring for the baby. If you're talking about cognitive development in children, I think by the age of about 5 or so, children are a little bit more able to reason. I mean, you can reason with them, and they have a certain level of comprehension and able to make some simple judgments. I would suggest preschool age will be a good time to slowly disclose, right? And especially, like, you know, when children are starting to go into school, and then they start learning about, you know, science, and then there's a whole, you know, I think in standard 4 or standard 5, they already learn a little bit about reproduction and whatnot, you know. So there'll be a lot of questions that will come your way, you know. So how was I conceived, you know? Do you have any pictures of me when you were pregnant? You know, questions like this will come, right? So if you have already given them enough information when they're a little bit younger, right? If you want to wait till they're about 7 or so, it's still okay. At least then these questions can still be answered. You can still go through it with them again as they are growing up, because then the questions and your level of answers will differ according to their age. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know what Jerry and Caroline and Dr. Gunn would think about this, but personally, I feel it's best to just be honest, and, you know, from day one. Yeah, Jerry, I don't know whether any experiences from the welfare department where, you know, sometimes they don't want to disclose this information.
Right.
You know.
I think when it comes to on the lawyers and the relevant authorities, I think for us, once the matter is done, is not something that we will speak about. Is a case closed, right? So, but cliche, honesty is policy. Honesty is the best policy, actually. We're going to touch your last sentence, your last question, the in love thing, all right? But you know, Madam Kwa, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to take this out with me a bit later outside, because this is quite deep. It's about immigration law. Okay, I believe that you can love anybody from any color, anywhere in the world, and have any children, all rainbow colors, all great. However, our law does not allow everything under the rainbow, okay? So we will talk about all this rainbow stuff outside in a bit, right? Now, I think we have, let's not get detracted from so much on the topic of adoption, whilst it's a lovely topic. The basis of this seminar is infertility seminars. I'm personally marveling about the medical science, about what it can do nowadays, and the amazing doctors. And I think not to take away the humanity of it, because I think the doctors who are in this field give so much, not just on their medical knowledge, but also by nurturing and being there for these patients who are at their most vulnerable. So on that note, now we have some special guests who have amazingly agreed to have come up to share their personal experience with us. It's not about adoption, it's about to try to have a baby naturally by themselves, and how they went through it. They are patients of good doctors, and they have just been so kind. May I say? Okay. All right, they are actually Dr. Gan's patients, okay, and they have been so expressive and so agreeable. I want to, they are coming up here. I'm going to ask them some questions. The whole concept of this that Mr. and Mrs. Tan has agreed to share with us the actual process of what they've been through. Okay, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Tan. Whilst they're making their way up here, I think it's very important come. Careful. Yeah, come on in. Yeah. Come. Mr. and Mrs. Tan, have a seat. I think it's important while they're taking a seat for me to tell you that I think it's very brave of them to do this. A lot of people who go through a difficult process have been trying one way or another for so long. Frankly, everything is all kept under, closed doors, and it's like just one day a miracle, a stock appears with a baby. But, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Tan, welcome. Thank you for coming. I think you went through a process, both Mr. and Mrs. Tan, to get a baby, right? One of the things I want to ask you first is a very simple question. I think props to Gleneagles. I want to know how you came upon approaching doctors at Gleneagles to aid yourself in starting your family. I mean, what was it that Gleneagles, what did you hear about it that you approached this hospital? Can you? Yep.
Gleneagles actually is a very well-known hospital in Penang. So we have chosen Gleneagles because many of our friends have very good experience here, and I do think and they are very famous as well. All the doctors are really good. And then the staff here is very friendly. Then if you come in, and then when you enter a hospital, it doesn't feel like you enter a hospital.
Wow, okay. Well, okay, to our sponsor, Gleneagles, I mean, was that I think, that was worth your sponsor, right? I mean, seriously, I mean, wow, okay, that was, all right. So was it a recommendation from another friend, or literally you're just heard, friends who also went through the same process?
It's many friends, because when we started to come and consult doctor, it's a very long process. We discuss a lot, and then we ask a lot. So many of our friends say that, this is a good hospital, so we came here.
Okay, all I can note is that when a hospital can have like coffee bean open in it, it has arrived, okay? You must have a Starbucks or Coffee Bean who want to set up within your hospital, then you've really made it, all right. Now, let's get to the point of it. I mean, Mr. Tan and Mrs. Tan, thank you for actually even being brave to be on here on the stage. Could you maybe share in your own words, how do you start this journey of trying to have a baby, and what was your experience? Yeah. Well, how do you start this journey?
We actually married we are 26. We were trying to have baby for 2.5 years. I think we are not successful, but our baby is 3 months old now, and then
excellent. That deserves a clap, right? Yeah.
We are very happy to have this baby in our family, and thank you, Dr. Gan, who helped us a lot throughout our pregnancy process. We actually have ectopic pregnancy before, and it's a very tough process. So after the ectopic is considered like a naturally conceived, but then it's outside the fallopian tube. Yep. Is at the ovary side. Yeah. So we have to take out. We have to do operation, and then it's really a sad process and very disappointed at that time. And then after that, we are discussing, and then we also search online and so ask friends. Actually, this topic, a lot of people don't really, they are shy to share about all this because, like people say, you tabole. So, but anyhow, it's a we found that we also consult doctor, and then doctor tell us that there's a few options, but we choose the IVF baby because I think it's the lowest risk to take to avoid the next ectopic as well. So.
Actually, I hear you. So it was an ectopic pregnancy, and that was, that was of course a letdown. And then you all went for a IVF scenario and everything. Actually, again, honestly, for a person like myself, I wouldn't know all these terminologies. I can imagine any lay person who comes to the hospital for help like this. I mean, there's a lot of jargon. I'm sure you both have to learn a lot, all these things and everything. I mean, I'm going to pass the mic over to Dr. Gan, and maybe Dr. Gan, you could share that. When Mr. and Mrs. Tan first came over to see you and everything, what is your, I suppose you have to have some background checks and or sort of an inquiry to actually know how to set them on the path, right? As a doctor, where you have couples like that approaching you, and obviously we are trying naturally, we're just like Mother Nature to take its course, but it doesn't. Doc, what do we do? What is what goes through your mind, doctor, and what do you look out for? What would you advise them, the first few steps?
Every case is different, But I think what we advise depends on the situation of that particular couple. And if after much discussion and they deserve to go through the IVF technique or the IUI or the donor sperm or the donor egg or even surrogacy, then we help them along the path. Okay. And it may differ from one pregnancy to the next as well, because your situation change. For example, if you've frozen your eggs and then the wife dies, then how? Then you have a new wife, then what do you do? Or the husband has donated his sperms and he died. What do you do? So it's a very, things change with every situation that you want to have a baby. But for Mr. and Mrs. Tan, they were very nervous and because it was so precious, to have this baby. But once they were pregnant, then a little problem occurred. Like all pregnancies are, this little problem, that little problem. And Mrs. Tan was very quiet throughout the whole pregnancy. Never say one word. She just quite lie in the bed, check everything. But now you look at her. I cannot recognize her anymore after the baby is born. She has a new look. She's talking, she's smiling, she even talked to me. Last time she never talked on. Okay. Tomorrow is it appointment? Okay lah. Never ask question, never talk. You know why? Because she's scared to ask. I think am I correct? I don't know, Mrs. Tan. I mean, she's so different now, right? She's smiling. Every time she sees me, she's, when you see a doctor, damn scary, because you never know. My God, the bad news, right? Every time you might get bad news, and the bad news is devastating. So I think for them, they've gone through a bit, but they also have the fruit, and they have changed. Mr. Tan, very concerned husband, but never show on. No, you can be lovey, you always say no. Very macho. Answer all question, ask question, all take it, and he will just, I don't know what he tells his wife, like that. And when the wife has a problem, he also never force the wife on. Yeah, he will say, it's a relationship, like all relationships are. If the wife has a certain issues, he also has an opinion, because sometimes she wants to breastfeed, he don't want to breastfeed. Even breastfeeding got the issue, right? So, but it's a relationship, and that's a marvel of a human being, a relationship. And just discuss it. If you have breastfeeding problem, talk about it lah. Just like your issues with your partner, right? When you have a problem, talk about it. Not only infertility, even breastfeeding issue, you talk about it. And I'm glad, Mr. Tan, I'm glad he has come out here. Maybe you can share with us your feelings, as a father. Yeah, first time we hear a father speak.
Being a father.
Asking a man to speak of feelings openly. Well done. Okay.
It's very happy. And then because we go through quite a long process, almost, I think, 4.5 years already. So, the happiness you cannot describe. It's just you will feel like, oh, you are working, and then you are working day and night, and then you are doing for your family, and that feeling you cannot describe until you feel it when it happens. And I do think, like the lady just now that have asked question, you have 10 years anniversary. I do think that maybe you give a bit more try in this IVF option. Maybe I do think that it's not like it's not every case is successful, but I do think that there's some cases, my friend, that they try 3 times, the 4th time they success. So it's very, very happy.
Yeah, what I can take from what Mr. Tan said and what Dr. Gan has confirmed is that if you are successful, and as you both are in a process which you have taken over 4 years ought to do, look at the confidence and the happiness that emanates from having tried so hard and so much investment. Well, words cannot describe. Correct. And I guess the other thing is, if there's an upside to the whole process and the difficulty I'm hearing, is that what does not break you after trying for so long, what does not break you can only make you stronger. You know what I mean? I think that's the hopeful thing. And I think, again, applause to the conveners of this seminar and everything. I think this is a topic. We are all rushing for the material in this day and age where the basics of just a family has eluded many of us. And it could be just a big, and that is actually actually that's a commodity that's probably the most precious. You know what I mean? Maybe not gold, actually the child. So, I mean, amazing. I mean, and I want to ask you something more, and probably this is going to be a bit of a canvas for Gleneagles again. I mean, surely that whole process, now that babies arrive, wow, 4.5 years odd, like long time ago, right? But through that 4.5 years, it must have been crazy. 4.5 years is quite a long time.
Correct.
Yes?
Correct.
Could I ask you, tell me, in the process, besides your doctor and everything, tell me how has it been easier? How has it been made easier with you? I mean, who do you think, what kind of people do you think you should meet along the process that can make it easier for you, if you were supposed to advise other couples out there?
Doctor
the doctor is paramount,
yes,
is it?
Yes.
The doctor, the
correct,
human
correct.
doctor.
Because we have tried many things like the ovulation test, and we also use this.
So many
there's a natural lubricant that's brought from Singapore. One of my friend, he gave me, and then he said the lubricant doesn't damage the sperm, and then help the sperm to swim faster.
Wow. Now, Dr. Tan, I don't think you have that at CryoCort, do you now? Okay.
Yeah. So we also try that. It's like an injection to inject inside. So many of them we have tried so many options, and we still didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So
your miracle was on
yes.
sitting on my right.
Yes.
Actually, honestly, and I think several sentences back, Jerry kept saying jackpot. I mean, really, is that a real way? Is there a formula? Today, you all come here today. Is there going to be a solution in this room? I don't think it's as easy as that. But I think what I note and what some of the miracles are happening and sitting on my left here, my little input would be, I think if one tries hard enough, one way or another, and today all the experts have spoken, there are options, there are a multitude of options, right? Somehow or another, I think if the heart is there and the efforts are given, possibly that jackpot can be hit. You know what I mean? And that is the hopeful reach out, isn't it? Really?
Correct. Actually, my friends, almost 50% of them are having this problem. I would say, like, at my age, I'm 20. I'm 31. So my friend is among my age, and then they still all of them is married 4 or 5 years. They are still trying for baby. And then many of them, they don't actually discuss about this because maybe they are shy or they don't want people to laugh at them but this is actually happening in the social, and then you when you are in there, you discover, actually many of them having the same problem like you.
Yeah.
So
I think that's so poignant to note. I think what Mr. Tan has very correctly mentioned, and I think that him saying it out loud is puts it to a clear point, that the couples who are trying and are still trying are having difficulty. You are not alone. Sadly, we wish in Utopia, again, this doesn't happen to people, that what you want, you get immediately. That doesn't happen, right? It doesn't happen on a lot of other bases. But you are not alone. It's happening. Yes, sadly, the statistics are getting higher. Could it be something in our water? I do not know.
No, I think it's our living style.
It's our living style, is it?
Correct. Maybe we are. Last time, people is not working day and night. They tend to work and then they wait for train. Or when train comes, very loud, and then they start to have sex. This is what my grandmother told me. And then the only entertainment that they have is to have sex. And then we are here, and then we have so many things now. We have Facebook, we have all this media, we have YouTube. Well, we already forget about all this. That's why doctors were saying try to have sex maybe 4 or 5 times a week. I say a week, 4.5. It's like an impossible thing because we work day and night, and then when we reach home we are tired and we exhausted, and then we just need some rest.
Okay, basically. The moral of that story, first of all, that whole choo-choo train thing, we are going to blame it on grandmother, right? Yeah. Okay, we're going to be on. After that, when you all leave this room today, I mean, those who are really interested in having a baby, you got to throw all your laptops, all your tablets, all your phones away, okay? Then you have a hope. Okay, but honestly, no, jokes aside, that's absolutely real sharing. That's real sharing. The conveners, what is our time like? Is going 3, what it was? Are we doing good? We're timing out, okay. Do you really total time out, is it? Yeah, total time, yeah. Any questions from the floor? Because you can tell that we are so entertaining. Any questions? Don't ask him about choo-choo trains anymore. Anything that makes, but honestly, Mr. and Mrs. Tan. Before I thank the other panelists, I must say, a big round of applause for their bravado. Come up here.
Thank you.
It is absolutely true. You know it from the 50% percentile that people find it very hard to speak about it. I'm also very pleased to say that you all are brave enough to speak about it, because today you both are sitting up here as winners, as people who have succeeded. Well done. Yeah. If there's no other question, I would like to thank again, and this will be Mr. Jerry from Social Welfare Department. Okay. Ms. Shireen, our child psychologist. And of course, Dr. Gan, an amazing doctor, and also the organizing chairman of this event today. Somebody, you want to do your close? Thank you all. Panel is done, right? All right, thank you.
Ask Ms. Yap to present a certificate of appreciation to our panelists right here. The first one is Ms. our moderator. Second one is for Ms. Shireen and Selvaraja. And then next we have Mr. Muhammad Ashraf Abdullah, or Jerry. Next we have Dr. Tan Kong Yong. And then Dr. Mrs. Gan Kam Ling. Yeah. Right. That concludes our panel discussion and also the giving out of certificates. Ms. O, Dr. Gan, Ms. Shireen, Mr. Ashraf, Mr. and Mrs. Tan, thank you so much for your active participation.
Thank you, Joanne. Good afternoon. Dr. Mrs. Gan Kamling, organizing chairperson of the seminar, Pregnancy Pit Stop, Things Your Mother Never Told You. Also EXCO member of the Family Health Development Association. Mr. Ivan Low, CEO of Gleneagles Penang. Is he here? Right. Anyway, thank you very much. Distinguished speakers whom you've heard from this morning, our sponsors, Ms. Anne Beatrice de Almeida and the Penang Bar Council Legal Aid Center lawyers. Are they all here? Oh yeah, all right. Thank you. Encik Rasafi bin Ismail, also fondly known as Jerry, from the Northeast District Welfare Office, the State Welfare Department of Penang. Members of the media, any members of the press here? Oh, they may have gone home, right. The project members of the team of today's event, EXCO members, I think I only see one person here of the FADA EXCO. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the conclusion of the Infertility Seminar. And I would like to thank those, especially those who come from outstation. I understand we have people from Kanga. Put up your hands. All right, thank you. Wow, that's quite a number. Alostar? Oh, wow, all in uniform. Huh? Wow, very united. Sungai Petani? Oh, none. All right, anyway, very nearby. Thank you very much for coming here to the seminar and also to support us. Things your mother never told you. Now, to the millennials, that means those who were born between 1990s to the 2000, and you compare to the baby boomers like me, things your mother never told you will be very different. Our mothers told us very much less. And after what I've listened to all the people, the panelists, I think the speakers whom you have heard this morning, all the knowledge that you've gained here will probably take your mother a lifetime to tell you. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, what you have learned here is very useful information. And I'm sure it will help you to help other people with your knowledge. And I also hope that you all have visited today's mobile campaign by the Penang Bar Council, the Legal Aid Center, and also made appointment for personal medical consultations. Now, FADA, FHDA, organized this event as a first for our association and the first ever use of online web-based tool. It is also the first such collaboration with a private hospital. So thank you very much, Gleneagles Penang. Shall we give them a round of applause? Now, our association started nearly 60 years ago and was first known as the Family Planning Association, in short, FPA. Hence, fertility, or the lack of it, is our pet concern. We are concerned about the present declining fertility rate, the decrease in family size, especially among urban families, the increase in aging population which is inversely proportional to the youth population. This concern leads us to address the issue of sexual and reproductive health and rights, namely the right to have children that families want. Many think that family planning is just, reducing the size of family. It's not. Family planning means having the family size couples wish to have and are able to support at the right age and with suitable spacing. Now, initially, actually, we had no funds. Mrs. Gan Kam, who initiated this project as well, also saw sponsors for this event. Shall we give her a round of applause? Dr. Gan, thank you, thank you, thank you. Our deepest appreciation is extended to the CEO of Gleneagles Penang for agreeing to host this lovely venue and providing us with the facilities, okay? And VADA also wish to thank our speakers and panelists, Dr. John Ooi Chong Chen, Consultant General Surgeon and Consultant Urologist. Dr. John Ooi, are you still here? Oh, no, okay. Dr. Chow Ting Soo, Consultant Physician and Infectious Diseases Consultant. Also not here yet. Miss Shireen, yes, who has just gone down the stage. Thank you very much, Miss Shireen and Savaraja, Consultant Child Development Psychologist. Miss Carolyn O, Advocate and Solicitor, Principal of Carolyn O and Company, who moderated the session very well. And I think we all managed to follow it very, very closely. Thank you very much, Carolyn. Dr. Tan Kong Yong, Chief Technical Officer of Crycourt Sendirian Berhad. Thank you very much. And of course, someone from the Penang State Welfare Department, Mr. Jerry, Mr. Muhammad Ashraf Abdullah. Terima kasih. We are also grateful to our sponsors, Crycourt Sendirian Berhad, Simply Fine Art, First Line Pharmaceuticals Sendirian Berhad, MSD Sendirian Berhad. Please give them all a round of applause again. Without the sponsorship, this very informative and interesting seminar would not have happened. And also our heartfelt appreciation to our collaborators, the Penang Bar Council Legal Aid Center, the Northeast District Welfare Office, and of course, we must not forget our FADA volunteer and staff team, led by our managers for this successful program. Can I see the team, please? Managers, Christine and Ng Laikin, Angie. And the FADA team, please raise your hands. Thank you very much and well done. Finally, thanks to all of you for supporting and attending this event. And imagine if all of you were not here, who would our people be talking to? So thank you very much. Give a pat to all the members of the audience here. And we hope to see you at our next event. And with this, I hereby close the Pregnancy Pit Stop Seminar. And to those who have to go back home from afar, please have a safe trip back. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of this seminar. Those who have made appointments to see the medical specialist of Penang Bar Council Legal Aid Center, please proceed outside to the consultation rooms on this floor. I wish you all a safe journey home. Please grab a hot beverage from us to take with you on your way out. For Muslims, the surau is on the 9th floor of this building. Have a good weekend and goodbye.
Okay.
Oh, yes, yes.